What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about Norwegian beliefs and values and behavior according to another American here who has actually traveled and lived in Norway, and basically her observations while living in Norway, how Norwegian people are compared to what Americans are used to, basically. And I think this is one of my favorite kinds of videos to watch, seeing other Americans who have traveled to Norway and what their experience is like there. I can relate to it a whole lot, and there's always these interesting sort of culture shock moments that Americans in particular seem to talk about. So I'm very interesting about some of the things she's going to say that she observed living in Norway. And I don't know, it just sounds fascinating. So let's take a look.
When I think of Norwegians, I think of strength and simplicity.
Oh, yeah.
They're clean and they do have good hearts.
Clean. Clean. I mean, that's good. It's just a funny thing to say. It's this seems to happen time and time again. When people talk about Norway and their experience there, it's very positive. It's always very good. These are very good characteristics.
They're clean
Clean.
and they do have good hearts.
Wow.
But sometimes I felt like, as opposed to an American, they weren't as open
Ah.
to new ideas, not as open to religion. They think very logically, which means
Huh. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a stereotype that Norwegians are a little more closed off, especially compared to Americans who are just going to talk and talk and talk and give you their opinion on everything and talk about anything or nothing. Norwegians are more closed off in comparison, but it's also like she was kind of alluding that Norwegians have their own set of opinions and beliefs, and when a foreigner comes in, they're not really too open to changing their whole belief system just based on what foreigners say, and that has to do with Norwegians having beliefs that are very logical, based on logic. So I actually admire that about Norway quite a bit.
a lot of them believe in logical explanations, scientific explanations of things.
Yeah.
Most of them, if you ask them what they believe in, a lot of them will say they believe in themselves,
Wow.
which can be a really good thing because Norwegians do a lot of great things. If there's trash on the road, they pick it up. If somebody needs help, they'll do it.
I think this American girl here also like was in Norway trying to talk to Norwegians about religion or her religion and spread that a bit, and that almost makes this even more fascinating because she got a chance to see what Norwegians are like when you try to basically pitch your belief system or religion to them. And Norwegians, when you ask Norwegians what they believe in, they'll say themself rather than like a religion or a god. They'll be like, I believe in myself. And they, Norway seemingly has an extraordinary population of responsible, respectful people, just even with none of that religious kind of moral code that a lot of Americans think is necessary. It's not. Like, Norwegians are some of the kindest, most responsible, intelligent people on the planet, objectively, without all that. So I actually like that she's talking about this because I think it's pretty interesting and speaks very well of Norway.
They believe in themselves. And sometimes that answer would frustrate me so much. A lot of them are atheists. They just believe that, we are here because of a scientific explanation. It's
Right.
not because of a divine creator or anything. There are, however, some Christians, some people who do believe more. I feel like more live in the South for some reason. I don't know if that's the
Huh.
influence from different countries, but overall, the most people that I talk to, their answer would be they believe in themselves and they didn't believe in God.
Wow. I mean, I haven't looked up any of like the demographics of Norway, really, when it comes to religion or anything like that, but it sounds like a large part of Norway is not religious, which is a growing trend all over the world, I think, certainly in America as well. But I also love, she said it frustrated her because she's trying to talk about her Christianity, but I love that answer. She did not like the answer, but I love that answer. Uh, Norwegians believe in themselves. That is, I think that's a good answer.
Norwegians have a lot of traditions, way more than Americans do.
Ah,
Their biggest celebration is the 17th of May, which is their Independence Day, and
right,
they go
right.
all out. It's the craziest thing you'll ever see. I remember walking out of my apartment and seeing everybody wearing these dresses.
The bunad, the Norwegian bunad. Yeah, like that's another cool thing about Norway is America doesn't have a lot of traditions. America is not very old and doesn't have a hugely long culture or traditions or anything like that. We have a couple, but Norway is so rich in its culture and traditions and its history and geography and buildings and all that stuff. It's so cool, especially coming from my point of view as an American, to see a country that's really has a deep traditions.
And like these crazy outfits. They're called bunads,
Yeah,
and it's like an authentic looking dress.
right.
And it just looks, and there's no cars driving either. So you look like you were in a time machine and you went back like, I don't even know. I don't know how long.
Yeah, like the Norwegian bunad, for example, is amazing. I think most Americans love that kind of thing because America doesn't have anything like that. And I don't know, it's super cool. And it's really like a bunad is one of the most Norwegian looking things I've ever seen. And it's hard to explain why, but you just look at it and you're like, that is the most Norwegian looking thing I've ever seen. That makes so much sense. And it's amazing that it's actually celebrated and used every year. Like she's saying, the actual celebration would be amazing to see in person,
Like many centuries. I don't know.
like a time machine.
So that's their biggest celebration. And Christmas, they celebrate for like the whole month. Even, I feel like they celebrate even like before and after. It
Yeah.
just lasts the whole month.
How do they celebrate Christmas?
Each day, it's so like intricate that to be honest, I don't remember all of it.
Oh my God. I thought Americans took Christmas seriously. I think Americans take Christmas seriously, but maybe the superficial parts of it, like the gifts and stuff like that, and decorations, which is nice. Americans go all out with Christmas decorations and the holiday season, but it's a bit surface level sometimes, and Norway just seems way more authentic. Just seems way more genuine with a lot of stuff like celebrating Christmas and holidays, and a month long. I did not know Norwegians celebrate Christmas time for like a month. That's probably awesome.
But I remember like something about each day leading up to Christmas, they would do something special. It all meant something. And then
Wow.
Christmas itself lasts a few days.
Uh-huh.
And Santa Claus, I'm trying to remember right. I had one Christmas there. Santa Claus comes like the night before Christmas. I think he comes on Christmas Eve.
Right, because I did watch some videos on Norwegian Christmas, and there was opening presents on Christmas Eve instead of like in America when we open them on Christmas Day. That was a big difference.
And then Christmas Day is when you really celebrate. And it's just so much fun. They really get into it and they enjoy celebrating. They take the time to do things well. It's very well planned. And
Yeah.
although it's not always focused on Jesus Christ or the Savior, there's still a feeling of unity. And yeah, I still felt the Spirit a lot during.
Yeah, it's interesting how she's looking at all of this through her religious point of view. It's kind of an interesting way to look at all this, and it honestly kind of amplifies like the difference of Norway compared to America, because there are a lot of religious people in America. So they would kind of be thinking like she is thinking. So I am actually enjoying this a little bit just to even more see the contrast between Norway and America. Yeah, but like she's saying, even without all that religious stuff, Christmas in Norway seems more authentic and more joyful and special than in America, where it's sort of this. In America, it's like this corporatized business. It's this business built around a holiday, basically, or it can feel that way.
During Christmas time. It was just a happy, good, good thing. Easter was also another big holiday for Norwegians, which is interesting
Okay.
because, once again, not very many people believe in Jesus Christ. But they would often travel during Easter. They love, love,
Oh.
love to be gone from Norway. They have the meat.
I have wondered about that because I heard that Norwegians like to go on vacation to places around the world where it is warm to get away from Norway. I've never heard anyone say it like she did, that Norwegians love to get away from Norway. I didn't know that. Yeah, it sounds like with this, it sounds like it's very true that many Norwegians vacation quite a bit, it sounds like.
Means to travel, and so often, people would travel to Spain or anywhere
Oh.
in Europe for like a month. They'll be gone for so long.
Oh.
They
Wow.
really love their holidays, and I loved experiencing it as well.
Wow. Okay.
Some not to do's in Norway, I think they can be tweaked a little bit, obviously, in certain situations. But normally, yeah, when you talk to somebody on the street, you don't ask them super personal questions right off the bat. Like,
Yeah.
for example, you wouldn't go up to somebody and say, "Hi, how are you? I'm a representative of Jesus Christ. Like,
Oh.
do you believe in Jesus Christ?" And if they said no, then like, if you attack them and were like, "Well, why not?" I think that would be.
Wow. So, wow. She, oh my gosh, because she was on like a mission in Norway, trying to spread the word of her religion. She got the opportunity to try to talk to Norwegians out of nowhere, like approach Norwegians on the street and try to become close and then get friendly enough to share her religion, I guess, which probably wasn't very successful. But it does prove the point that regardless of what you're saying, Norwegians, you just have to approach it differently than you would in America. In America, you could walk up to someone and ask them a semi personal question. If you just walked up to someone and you were like, "Can I ask you a question?" Some Americans might be like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." So it's definitely quite different.
Completely wrong. I don't think that's how I would do it. In some circumstances, maybe it is, but generally, when handling with Norwegians, it's very important to be respectful. I remember sitting next to a woman on a train, and she was wearing some really nice boots. A lot of Norwegians are very well dressed. I felt so often that I was walking inside of a
Huh.
magazine. Everybody is just fantastic. But
Oh,
I remember
okay.
sitting next to this woman wearing these really nice pair of boots, and I complimented her and I said, "I really like your boots. Like, where did you get those?" And I remember so clearly the woman looking over at me and just saying, "I don't want to talk to you." And that's all she said to me. And
Wow.
it was it was funny, but it just kind of goes to show.
Wow. I mean, I feel like you could get that happen to you in America. That could happen to you. I feel like this is not always the typical answer for Norwegians. Basically, there's a different set of answers you might get in Norway and America if you just try to talk to a stranger. Some people are going to say, I don't want to talk. No matter where you are. I don't think this is a Norwegian thing. I don't think all Norwegians are like that, are like, I don't want to talk to you. Maybe she could tell that this girl was trying to talk about her Christianity or something, and then that's why she said, I don't want to talk to you. I don't feel like Norwegians are this rude, or it also kind of depends on how you say it, especially in America. You can either say, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you," or you could say, "I don't want to talk to you." And it's completely different. It's completely different.
That they're very reserved and different, but they are friendly. You just have to be respectful.
Yeah.
And if somebody says that they don't want to talk to you, then say that's okay and be polite and kind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're approaching someone, a stranger, and you start saying stuff to them, they have the right to be like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you. They have the right to respond however they want, basically. So I don't know. I think in general, Norwegians are probably pretty nice, but also, like she said, you don't want to ask super personal questions to people you don't know.
A lot of times on buses, if somebody is sitting alone, there'll be two seats next to each other. And if somebody is sitting alone in one of the rows and like the rest of the bus is open, if you went and sat right next to them, they would be fairly offended. So the
Yeah.
best thing that I would try to do is sit close enough where you can talk to them and have a conversation, because obviously, you need to talk to everybody, but don't
Oh boy.
intrude or be overbearing. So, but just politeness overall, I think, is really important with Norwegians.
Okay. Well, it sounds like her mission was to go to Norway and talk to a lot of people about Christianity, which is gonna pro that's probably one of the toughest places to try to go and do that, I would actually imagine. Honestly, it makes me want to look up like um religion in Norway. Um Let me see here. Religion in Norway is dominated by Lutheran Christianity, with 68% of the population belonging to the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Norway. The Catholic Church is the next largest at 3%. The unaffiliated make up 18%. Okay. Sounds like. What's the main religion of Norway? Christianity. Well, still 65% of Norway is Christian, so huh. She was talking a lot about some of the tough conversations she had, but I don't know. Although it does sound like there is a reasonably big atheist or non-religious portion of Norway. I've never really looked into that stuff, but since she was talking about her experience through that kind of lens, it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, if you walked onto a bus and I was the only person on the bus and you sat down next to me, even in America, I would be annoyed. I'd be very annoyed. I'd be like, why do you have to sit next to me? The bus is empty. But so I agree, honestly, with that. I enjoyed this. This is by Lifey, and I gotta give this a thumbs up. This video wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting Norwegian beliefs, values, traditions, behavior, but it was all of that, but also through this American's point of view as like a missionary, a Christian missionary, which is interesting because that kind of forced her to have to interact with Norwegians in a very particular way, which gave me some insight. So I enjoyed that. This was an interesting one, and I do feel like I learned something. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway or Norwegian culture or things in Norway I've never seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.